You are listening to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, Episode 19, The Perimenopocalypse, an Estrogen Tsunami. Welcome to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, a show for women who are tired of feeling hopeless, defeated, and frustrated with their bodies and want to have more energy to show up every day as the best version of themselves. I'm holistic nutrition consultant Shannon Hagel, and I can help you reprogram your brain to create bulletproof consistency with ease and address your personal hormonal imbalances that are leading to weight gain. Life can feel a whole lot better with a body you love, delicious food, and a little wine. And I'm here to help you get there. Ready to lose weight and feel amazing in your body? Let's dive in. Welcome, friends. Thank you so much with your patience for me while I took a much needed little break, gave my lungs and my voice a chance to recover from pneumonia, which was definitely not the most fun, but I'm feeling much better now. And we're hitting the ground running with this first episode back, talking about something that I get a lot of questions about because there's a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding, I think, about today's topic, which is estrogen dominance. So when you are feeling stuck in a body you don't even recognize anymore, it can be very isolating and a very lonely place. Almost like you're trapped in an episode of The Twilight Zone where you know that something is very wrong, but no one around you seems to notice. Being surrounded by thousands of women, 35 to 65, all going through different weight loss struggles, I have the advantage of seeing the patterns so clearly. And let me tell you, friend, you are certainly far from alone. In fact, you are the norm. One of the confusing aspects of struggling with our weight as women is that it becomes a much more complicated issue as time goes on. And that is because we go from being at peak hormonal production in our 20s to having to navigate the world of these declining hormones and all the repercussions of that in our mid to late 30s and beyond. So one of the biggest rule changes of how your body gains and loses weight is your estrogen, which begins to shift around your mid-30s to 40s. As women, our estrogen levels are going to be continuously on the decline at this point in our life. But did you know that you can still be estrogen dominant even with declining levels of estrogen? Estrogen dominance doesn't necessarily mean that you have too much estrogen, but rather too much estrogen in relation to progesterone. Now, this can happen for a number of reasons. Our bodies can be overexposed to chemicals, toxins, medications, things that act as pseudoestrogens in our body. Herbicides, pesticides, chemicals in our skin and hair products, cleaning products, fabric softeners, perfumes, these all start to really add up. Or maybe you're on birth control, which the majority of birth control is estrogen-based. So you are overloading the system with these low-quality forms of estrogen. Now, the body can also be producing too much estrogen on its own. So in this state, you have normal levels of progesterone, but your estrogen production is heightened. We know our ovaries make estrogen, but they aren't the lone crusader here. Your adrenals and your adipose tissue, so your fat tissue, also secrete estrogen. And in fact, are in charge of most of your estrogen production after your ovaries start to, close down shop. So higher levels of body fat actually create high levels of estrogen in the body. In both of these situations, both internal or external estrogen overload, the biggest key here in them actually leading to estrogen dominance is the inability to eliminate this excess or used up estrogen from the body. You have a drainage issue where your body is not properly detoxifying. It is overloaded. It just simply can't keep up. Liver sluggishness is actually one of the top imbalances by far that I see in women that we work with. And it's not because everyone we work with is drinking way too much alcohol. It's not because of that. But it's actually because our detoxification systems were never designed to handle the immense load that it now has to carry. So if the liver is not metabolizing, neutralizing, and moving this excess estrogen out of the body through our main detox pathways, which means a daily bowel movement, then that estrogen can't get out. It can't get out of the body, so it gets reabsorbed, creating this environment of estrogen dominance. This is why healing digestive issues, detoxification pathways, and getting you pooping every day is one of the most important steps to creating hormone balance. Now, the other way that women will end up in an estrogen dominant state, because remember, that doesn't necessarily mean that your estrogen is too high, but the ratio between estrogen and progesterone is out of whack. And that is just simply being in perimenopause. In fact, most women in perimenopause are in an estrogen dominant state, since your progesterone drops much faster than your estrogen. So in order to create progesterone, you actually need to ovulate. No ovulation, no progesterone. So after decades of consistently pumping out an egg every month, for decades, your ovaries start to get a little bit tired. They've been working really hard. They start thinking about retiring. They become inconsistent, even erratic with their work, releasing an egg one month, but not so much the next. And this creates this perfect storm for the perimenopocalypse, this estrogen tsunami that happens. So why does it matter so much if we're in an estrogen dominant state or not? Well, imagine that estrogen is that friend at the dinner gathering who loves to party. They're always cranking up the volume. And progesterone is the friend that makes sure everyone's using coasters, hydrates between their glasses of wine, right? Makes sure nobody is drinking on an empty stomach. Our party friend, estrogen, is fun in small doses, but too much party, and you're going to wake up the next day with a splitting headache. Now, in the saga of perimenopause, estrogen suddenly likes to throw these surprise parties, but sometimes she forgets to invite her bestie, progesterone. And the result is this rager that gets completely out of hand. You've got no progesterone there, making sure everyone's using coasters and keeping the volume down so the cops aren't called. It's complete chaos. And it can cause some super unpleasant symptoms. Maybe you start to experience incredibly heavy periods, like a lot of clotting, bleeding through super tampons and pads in a matter of hours. You don't even want to leave the house because you cannot trust that you won't spring a leak. Or maybe the first couple days of your period, you feel like you've been hit by a truck. You might start to see a lot of weight gain, specifically around your hips, thighs, around your waist, cellulite, headaches, fibrocystic breasts, and a history of fibroids and cysts are something that women tend to struggle with estrogen dominance. Also, depression and anxiety skyrocket in an estrogen dominant state, and even through perimenopause. Now, left unchecked, this hormonal imbalance can have a really negative effect on someone's life. Let's dive a little bit deeper into some of these estrogen dominant gifts. I want to focus on the top 3 that I see with the women that we work with inside the Thrive formula. So probably the top one we see in women in perimenopause with these estrogen dominant states is anxiety and the emotional roller coasters. So moodiness, low stress tolerance, you're snapping at everyone, you're no longer happy-go-lucky, Miss Positive anymore. Your patience for those that are closest to you is almost non-existent. So progesterone stimulates the production of GABA, which helps you to sleep. But GABA also helps to boost your mood, making you feel good and relaxed. When your progesterone levels drop, your GABA levels drop as well. So low progesterone can lead to feelings of anxiety, sadness, or depression. Progesterone is necessary to balance out your estrogen. So when your body is in this estrogen dominant state, it can cause you to feel like you're riding this emotional roller coaster or plunging down a cliff of anxiety and depression. It can be super frustrating and even scary for people because you feel out of control with it. We see a huge spike in prescriptions for antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications in perimenopausal women, which is really unfortunate because although we do have to prioritize supporting and helping women with these symptoms, throwing anti-anxiety meds and antidepressants at it doesn't actually deal with the real core of the issue. And then, of course, in and of itself, those medications often cause weight gain, which usually women in an estrogen dominant state and in perimenopause are already struggling with. It becomes this vicious cycle. The second one that we see very often, obviously, is stubborn weight gain and bloating. So estrogen imbalance levels is super important for maintaining weight. But it's when estrogen is super high or super low that we run into problems. Now, I talk more about the declining estrogen levels and their impact on fat storage in episode 2 of the podcast. So Go check out that episode if you want to dive deeper into low estrogen. But today we're going to focus more on the estrogen dominant equation. So estrogen dominance actually blocks the breakdown of fat, making it super hard to lose weight, even when you're doing seemingly the right things. It may also impact the speed of your digestive system. So when your digestion starts to slow down, the food you eat starts to actually ferment in the gut. Kind of gross, right? And this leads to bloat, looking like you're 5 months pregnant and causing you to feel uncomfortable and less confident in your own skin. And then the third most common symptom that I see with my clients that are experiencing these estrogen dominant symptoms is the heavy menstrual cycles, or PMS galore, right? Estrogen dominance may cause those irregular periods, those intense PMS symptoms, and even those heavy or prolonged bleedings. So many women I speak to think that they need to go back on birth control or have ablation surgery or even a hysterectomy to solve this. But none of those things will actually do a thing for helping you with hormonal balance. All they will do will mask one of those symptoms that you're experiencing. And even worse, can cause more imbalance to your hormonal function. So doing these things might fix the bleeding problem, but everything else will get so much worse. So those are ones that I see most often with our clients. But other signs of estrogen dominance might include water retention and swelling, breast tenderness and breast changes, headaches or migraines, especially with your cycle, mood swings, fertility changes, hypothyroidism, sugar cravings, changes in memory and brain function. So a lot of brain fog. Any of these sound familiar? If so, it's time to toss the tired old weight loss advice in the garbage because, girl, it is not for you. No amount of sweat sessions, calorie cuts, or ketone drinks will balance your estrogen or help you lose the weight put on from being in this estrogen dominant state. So instead, you need to focus on opening up those detoxification pathways, right? Your liver is responsible for breaking down, removing excess estrogen from the body. If the liver function is compromised due to factors like medication, exposure to toxins, alcohol consumption, or even a diet lacking in nutrients that support your liver health, like cruciferous vegetables and clean animal products, it may not effectively remove that estrogen, leading to that reabsorption and accumulation. Your gut health is a crucial piece in the hormone balancing puzzle, right? A healthy gut helps to excrete estrogen from the body. Ban it, send it away. Issues like dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of your gut bacteria, can bugger up this whole process. There are even some bacteria in the gut that can produce an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. That's super fun to say. I highly suggest you try it. The beta-glucuronidase can reactivate estrogen that's meant to be excreted, which means that it doesn't exit the body and it gets reabsorbed. This is one of the reasons why I am a major matcha lover. Matcha tea is amazing. I don't make any of my clients give up their coffee, but if they're willing to trade one of their coffees for a matcha, their hormones are going to be very, very happy. Matcha helps by reducing the bacteria in the gut that causes an increase in beta-glucuronidase production. Less beta-glucuronidase, less estrogen issues. The second thing you really want to focus on is creating optimal blood sugar regulation, okay? So many people really downplay the importance of blood sugar regulation because we don't think we need to worry about it because we're not diabetic or because we're generally fairly healthy and eat really clean. Your diet does play a significant role in your hormonal balance, and consuming too much sugar, processed foods, or even certain fats can lead to an increase in fat storage, right? Body fat, particularly the adipose tissue, can produce and store estrogen, thus increasing estrogen levels in the body. Now, on top of this, and get ready for this because you're probably not going to like this part, but consuming non-organic meats or dairy products may contain some hormone additives and can also contribute to those higher levels of estrogen. Animal products are really important for our detoxification pathways, for lean muscle development, and our satiety hormones. So I highly recommend keeping these clean animal products in your diet, but make sure that you're focused on the cleanest versions that you can afford. Now, in terms of dairy, this is where people really get angry with me. But I didn't make it up. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just our biology. If you think about how dairy is produced by any body, animal or human, it requires hormones. Also, in commercial production of dairy, they are injecting cattle with hormones in order for them to produce more. Those hormones are contained in the milk, right? So when we're consuming that, we are adding these excess hormones into our body that it does not need and does not want. Now, I don't think everyone needs to go and be all black or white on anything, but to me, when we're focusing on creating hormonal balance, especially for the sake of our health, dairy is not an everyday food, in my opinion. And then third piece you really want to focus on when dealing with estrogen dominance is supporting your endocrine function. So chronic stress is going to amp up your cortisol production, which is your stress hormone. And this can really disrupt the delicate balance between estrogen and progesterone even further. The body actually prioritizes the production of cortisol over other hormones, including progesterone, because we need cortisol to survive. But progesterone, not so much. So by depleting these progesterone levels, it makes estrogen more dominant by comparison. Right? Reducing physical and mental stress wherever you can, wherever possible in your life is going to by far be one of the most impactful ways to support your weight loss and hormonal balance. Struggling with weight can feel like an endless battle, especially as we age. For women over 35, the journey isn't just about shedding pounds. It's about navigating the complex world of those hormonal changes. The shift in your body's estrogen levels, particularly in your mid-30s to 40s, plays a crucial role in how you gain and lose weight. But here's the kicker. Even as estrogen levels decline, you can still find yourself in that state of estrogen dominance, which means having too much estrogen relative to progesterone. This imbalance can stem from various factors, including exposure to chemicals and toxins that mimic estrogen, birth control pills flooding our system with synthetic estrogen, or even our own bodies producing too much estrogen due to factors like increased body fat. The root of the issue often lies in your body's inability to properly eliminate that excess estrogen, leading to what I like to call the perimenopocalypse. Estrogen dominance can throw this wild party in your body, causing symptoms like heavy menstrual cycles, stubborn weight gain, and emotional roller coasters, among many others. It's a state that not only affects your physical well-being, but can significantly impact your mental health, contributing to anxiety and depression. So what's the game plan for tackling estrogen dominance? It is not about pushing harder in the gym or cutting more calories. Girl, you need to stop punishing your body. We need to be allies with our body. We need to be besties with our body. The solution lies in 3 key strategies: enhancing those detoxification pathways, optimizing blood sugar regulation, and supporting endocrine function. This means focusing on improving your liver and your gut health to better eliminate that excess estrogen. This means regulating your diet to avoid those processed foods and hormone-laden meats and dairy, managing stress to keep cortisol levels in check. By addressing these areas, you're not just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms. You're getting to the heart of the issue and paving the way for hormonal balance and a healthier, happier you. So if you're tired of the same old weight loss advice and ready for a change, it is time to shift your focus and start healing from within. I know it can feel overwhelming AF, but I'm here to simplify it for you. If you are ready to stop doing the things that don't work, then I invite you to come work with me in our hormone balancing weight loss program for women over 35, the Thrive Formula. Until then, you have a beautiful rest of your day. If you enjoyed today's show and don't want to worry about missing an episode, you can follow the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you could share the podcast with others who you think might benefit from it, and leave a rating and review to let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be a 5-star rating, although I sure hope that you love the show. I want your honest feedback so I can create an awesome podcast that provides tons of value. Visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com/podcast launch for step-by-step instructions on how to follow, rate, and review. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Mindset and Metabolism Mastery. If you want to learn more about balancing your hormones, repairing your metabolism, and losing weight with empowerment and ease, visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com. I'll see you next time.